What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for Justin Godsey TV. Thank you so much for checking out tonight's video. Tonight, guys, we're here talking about Game 7 of the 2014 World Series between the San Francisco Giants on the road taking on the Kansas City Royals. Now, the Kansas City Royals last night were able to tie the game, after a very most explosive second inning. Jake Peavy was on the mound last night for the San Francisco Giants. As what happened last night for the Giants? We don't know exactly what happened. Jake Peavy, he was dealing with a bruise on his thumb. That's the only thing that we all know about Jake Peavy. But you know what? This is baseball. Anything can happen in baseball. Everybody has been saying that. And last night we saw the unthinkable happen. The Kansas City Royals, with their backs against the wall, the Giants were up 3-2 in Game 6 of the World Series. They went in there and they lost it because Jake Peavy blew the game for them. Now that you're going into Game 7, this is where everything is on the table. All cards are out. You gotta look at every option that's in front of you. The San Francisco Giants do have the option of starting Madison Bumgarner, and as well as the Kansas City Royals have the option of potentially going with Jeremy Guthrie. Now, a lot of people have been saying, the best move for the Royals is to go with Guthrie, because Guthrie has been very good, throughout the entire playoffs. He's won, his past three or five games, and he's just been, lights out for the Kansas City Royals. As for the San Francisco Giants, this has been a very rocky past couple of games, whether it's with their starting pitchers besides Madison Bumgarner. You look at Jake Peavy's performance last night, and then you want to look over at, Ryan Vogelsong's performance. Those are the two pitchers that you do not want to get to at any point throughout the World Series, because at this point Jake Peavy has not won a World Series game. Ryan Vogelsong, he's getting up there at age, and he's just been underperforming this past year. And this Giants team has just been very scary on what are you going to be getting from your starters. Tim Hudson has had okay starts. They're not out of this world fantastic like Madison Bumgarner has been all World Series, all playoffs. This is the moment where San Francisco has got to think about what you got to do. What do you got to do in order to win? Now, for the Giants, they've got to start Madison Bumgarner. That's just me. They've got to go with Madison Bumgarner. I know he's going to be, potentially starting on 2 days rest, but you know what? Tim Hudson has not proved to you that he can officially get out of innings without giving up, 2 to 3 runs within 3 or 4 innings. So it's going to be very scary. Runs is going to be the biggest problem here. You cannot go into a 4th inning, with Giants, with their bats as quiet as they are, with guys like Buster Posey, who has not had an extra base hit this entire World Series. His bat is not even going. You primarily are begging for guys like Brandon Belt, Pablo Sandoval, and Hunter Pence to get something going. That's going to be the biggest factor of this game. Can those guys really step up? Can Buster Posey step up? Because this is the final game of baseball. This is the final day for the 2014 year, and they've got to go, all out. They've got to step up. The Giants, in order to win, have got to get those bats going. So, in my philosophy for the San Francisco Giants, when it pertains to their pitching, you go with Madison Bumgarner. You don't put him in any relief form because he has no experience in relief. You can't put him into a situation that he has no experience about. You cannot do that. That is going to really mess up, the entire outcome. A lot of people are saying that he's going to potentially end up being in this game. If he's going to be in this game, he's got to start. He's done a whole lot for this team, and he's got to pick this up. He is the captain. He is number 1. He is probably the best pitcher in baseball, next to Kershaw, and there's just not another player, that comes to my mind, next to Kershaw that's, so accurate, so consistent like Madison Bumgarner. So, what? You got to start him. I'm not saying let him go, into the 7th or 8th inning and then turn it over to your bullpen. I'm saying let him go 3 to 4 innings, maybe even 5 if you want to push it, and then you got to turn it over to your bullpen. You cannot put Madison Bumgarner in relief, in a Game 7 of the World Series. I mean, it's Game 7 of the World Series. Madison Bumgarner has never worked in relief in his life. So you cannot put him into a situation that he has no experience about. So, the best way to go is to start Madison Bumgarner, and then turn it over to your bullpen. That is where you bring in Yusmeiro Petit. Yusmeiro Petit has been fantastic this entire playoffs for the San Francisco Giants. That is the best option. You roll with at least 2 to 3 pitchers tonight. Your 2 to 3 dominating pitchers. That's Bumgarner, Yusmeiro Petit, and then if Yusmeiro Petit goes down the line into the 7th or 8th inning and the Giants have a lead, that's when you turn it over to Santiago Casilla, close the game out, and then you win the World Series. But now when you turn it over to the Kansas City Royals, they do have another interesting factor, because this team has five potential closers on their roster. Jeremy Guthrie has never pitched in the World Series, Game 7, or he doesn't have any, legitimate, big game history on his belt. So, he's still getting, fresh. He's still new to this whole concept, and you know what? They're calling upon him to do one of the biggest deeds in, Kansas City Royals history since the first time since 1985, and that's pitching in Game 7 of the World Series. So Jeremy Guthrie has got to stay consistent. He has got to get out of innings. Same thing for the Giants. They've got to get out of innings. And you know what? When it pertains to their bats, you got to get full productiveness. You have to be spot on. This is the biggest game in the entire MLB industry. This is Game 7 of the World Series, and if I have to give a prediction right now, I have to go with the Giants. I have to go with the Giants. I'm not trying to be a homer or anything, but it just seems like the Giants are going to have their number tonight. Last night, that's an embarrassment. They got their, the Royals, embarrassed the Giants last night. The Giants did not know who they were. We don't know who the Giants were last night. Game 6 is, what is the Giants? What is Giants baseball to us? And you know what? Game 7, we're going to see Kansas City Royals baseball. We're going to see San Francisco Giants baseball. This is going to be probably one of the closest games in the entire MLB history, and this is going to be one of the games I'm so looking forward to seeing, because it's Game 7. Win, lose, or draw, I'm personally a Giants fan. We have the World Series rings. To add this one into our resume is great, but you know what? We are going up against a team that is young, that is talented, full of a great future team. This team's going to end up winning the World Series within the next 5 years. We know what this team is about. They have the bullpen. They have their pitching rotation. They have the bats. Hosmer, Moustakas, Gordon. They have everybody there. They have the speed. Lorenzo Cain, Draw Dyson. But you know what? I think it's going to go with the team that has the most power out of the two teams, and that's the San Francisco Giants. And I'm thinking that if Madison Bumgarner starts tonight, gets 5 solid innings in, I think the Giants will be able to, put some runs on the board and roll with Madison Bumgarner. And I think the guy you really want to look out for is Pablo Sandoval, who is a guy who is making a case for himself to get a new contract with the San Francisco Giants. He wants to say he's loved here, and I think that, Pablo Sandoval is going to be that, key player to watch for the San Francisco Giants tonight when it pertains to the hitting for the Kansas City Royals. You guys want to keep a lookout for Mike Moustakas. He's always that secret weapon. Look at him this entire playoff run. He's been hitting home runs constantly. He has that power. So you know what? You got to be very aware of his power as well. Hosmer is a good case. He's been getting on base a whole lot throughout the entire series and then throughout the entire playoffs. But you know what? He has not been that guy to be really sparking up and putting up some runs via home runs on the board. That's all Moustakas. So, it's going to be the battle of third basemen. So let me hear your guys' opinion for Game 7 of the 2014 World Series. My name is Justin Godsey, and I'll catch you guys next time.